Morning, folks. We are here on this lovely little Thursday morning to start our Age of Wonders 4 campaign. So they've just released another DLC, which I do have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to start playing through the tutorial realm firstly, and I have not played it in months. Like, this game came out more like at the start of like summertime. It was like May, I think, and I did play it I did play some hours of it. So from I'm familiar. I played Age of Wonders Planetfall as well, so I'm used to like how the game works. But obviously, with other DLCs coming in, the gameplay has changed. They've added in, certain things to maybe make it a little bit harder, certain things to make it a little bit easier, and then brand new aspects of the game that we haven't seen before. So it's going to be just as super new for me as it might be then for you watching. So what I plan to get through today in the stream is the initial tutorial realm, just to kind of give us a little taste of what's going on. And one thing I absolutely adore about Age of Wonders 4 is just the fact that you can like create your own like faction. It's not like you have to just choose from the ones that they've kind of created for you and do your best dealing with it. um a lot of the time in Age of Wonders Planetfall, I was playing like as the Amazonians, or whatever you want to call them, and the lack of choices in terms of like individuality, I find quite frustrating. So one thing I do really really love about Age of Wonders 4 is that I can basically make my own amazing Viking race, and I live for everything Viking. If I'm playing any game, I want it to be like Viking-ish. I want to have elements of that in there. So we're going to go in and we're going to go into and these are the ones that I've already like completed these realms. So I did play, like a little bit. I just didn't play loads. And then these are all the ones that I haven't completed. And you'll see as well, like ones that maybe don't have any little letters, beside their little picture, and then ones that do. So it'll say, this one has DD and this one has EA. So this one is from the brand new one, Empires and Ashes, and then this one is from Dragon Dawn, which I have played a little bit of, I believe. So with the first realm, it's called Fields of Rebirth, and it's your beginner scenario. It's your introduction to the game. So it goes on. We'll select this, and it goes on to say the returning wizard kings first preyed on small, bountiful, and harmonious realms to hone their skills. Will you be a protector or invader of this beautiful domain? And then some domains, well, most of them will all have like their own individual like traits. So this realm is more peaceful, but still not without danger. High tier infestation spawners are absent, and if you don't know then what like an infestation is, it's a location like on the map that causes like this little location will kind of be like a spawn point, really, and enemies will like be produced every like couple of turns or something. um and infestations, if you're not careful, can be really really annoying. Like, you can maybe leave like your main sort of like city or base or whatever you want to call it, like, and start going on the offensive to take down the actual players or do the mission objective or whatever. But then if you're not concentrating on the infestations, they might not have like heroes or anything, but they can come at you with some large enough armies, which is a pain in the arse. So you don't want to get caught out ignoring them. And depending on your faction, if you like choose certain faction like advantages or whatever, one of the advantages that you can get, which is one that I'm gonna end up choosing, is that if you clear out like infestations or certain areas or whatever, you get larger rewards than you usually would have. And because this is like a tutorial version, we can't actually change the difficulty of it. If we were to go and play like other realms, we would be able to then pick our own difficulty if we wanted to, but it
Choose your
doesn't
destination.
let you do it with, the first one. So we're going to go
Your
ahead and we're going
journey
to select it. So
starts here.
it does give you your loads. It does give you quite a lot of pre-made sort of people, to choose from. So you'll have things like Tigrans, then you'll have like elves, and then there's the draconians as well that have came from the other DLC, the Dragon Dawn one. Then you have humans, you've got elves, you've got orcs, you've got dwarves. There's a lot of stuff to choose from. I already do have a custom one already made, and like I said, everything Viking is my life, is my world. So I'm just going to talk you through her a wee bit. So I kind of wanted to do, like my own little like Viking domination, type of way of playing. So I've made Lagatha here, the very famous shield maiden. Um like anything, like Fur Maiden, Shield Maiden, Lagatha, whatever, they're all types of names that I would usually like stick to. And I've named the faction itself Vikings, and then I made, just like their little sigil or symbol or whatever you would like to say. These affinities here I will go into explain when we actually get into the gameplay. So you also get to choose like what kind of ruler um you are, and I've chosen for her to be a champion. A champion is a ruler risen from the ranks of their people. So all cities have 10% gold income and plus 20 city stability. So gold is like one of your very main incomes. Without gold, you can't really do much. Then your throne city, which is like your first city, the base, which obviously I'm gonna name Connecticut. Um, it starts with an extra 20 draft points. So the way like draft works is then if you've got draft and production, I think from what I can remember, the more draft that you have, the quicker you're able to like create units in your army, and then the more production you have, the quicker you're able to like upgrade your throne city and build new things in your throne city. It'll take less turns, and this is a turn-based game. So the higher draft would have maybe, instead of it taking 4 turns to be able to create a certain unit for the army that I want. Maybe it would only take 2 turns or 1 turn, etc., etc. Then another advantage is that all non-hero units gain 20% XP, so they get experience 20% faster. And then we start with an extra 100 relation with free cities. So on like every like scenario, or whatever, you'll always have like your win conditions, that type of thing, and we'll go into that when we'll load in as well. um and just like infestations, free cities can also be a pain in the arse, or they can be very, very helpful too. So a free city is basically someone that is not necessarily like your enemy, like it is an NPC, but they will have like their own like throne city, and they'll be able to kind of expand and things like that. So you can wage war against them and wipe them out, um and claim their territory. Or what you can do is you can work on that relation, and there's various ways to be able to do that in the game. And as we kind of play the game, as it comes up, we'll talk about it more. But the higher relation you have, you can actually basically get them to join you, so you don't need to fight at all. They can actually end up fighting for you and alongside you. Or if it's even very, very high, you can completely integrate them, and then you can rule over them and control everything as if they started off being yours. Another big thing that's very, very important is our tomes. So we do have like research that we're able to do, and depending on like what we're researching, like certain tomes, we're able to get either spells to use during combat, world spells to use as we're just farting around. We can target enemy cities using them world spells. So maybe we can like fuck with their stability, fuck with their income, or like weaken their army, their defending army a wee bit before then we go into attack. So things like that can be helpful. And then we can place certain things on our own throne city as well. But mainly the biggest advantages are you. This is how you would improve your units, and this is how you would improve your heroes, and this is how you would end up being able to do a lot more damage. And the affinities, then, which I've talked about there, really comes into effect too. So because of the things that I've chosen, I've already started with 4 affinity of, I think I can't even remember what they're called. It might be nature something and something. I can't remember. Um so for the Viking race, we are humanoid beings who are organized and entrepreneurial, albeit impatient at times. With their talent to learn new skills, they can adapt to almost any situation. Their blood is strong, which allows them to recuperate from wounds faster than others. They hold honor and valor in high regard and fight to uphold their laws wherever they go. They find their strength in fast population growth and overwhelming numbers. They are legendary hunters, excelling in ranged combat and exploration. So this is really just down to the fact of like the things that I've chosen while I've created them. So I didn't really want to do, like elves or whatever, because Vikings would have been like human. And the adaptable, I would say, I want to say like perk means that units grow at a faster rate from winning fights. So when we win fights, like I said earlier, the effect would be our non-hero units. So like our cavalry, our archers, maybe our magicians, our mages and stuff. They all have loads of different names. And we all gain XP 20% faster. And then the faster recuperation, can't even bloody talk this morning, means that when we're in the world map, every single turn we get an extra 10 hit points regenerated. So that's very, very helpful if you're in a dire kind of situation. And give me 2 little seconds. Just gonna mute you. I'm back. The postman came, so I had to run to the door. Apologies, wasn't expecting it, but Christmas deliveries. It's that time of year. Um, yes. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. I mean, I this game is very highly addictive. Um, and like I love turn-based strategy games. Because we're doing our Heroes of Might and Magic playthrough as well, and then because the new DLC just came out for Age of Wonders 4, like turn-based strategy games are just my jam at the minute. So I was like, look, the DLC is just dropped, it's just came out, so I need to get back into it. So yeah, so we will get more HP per turn when we're trying to heal ourselves, which can be very, very useful if there's multiple people sort of coming at us, or if we're, exploring. So we don't have to like stop for as long. We can kind of keep on keeping on. Um, but the next thing that you're able to choose from as well is what types of like ruler and stuff that you are. So I chose feudal, and each individual one has like certain like perks, certain rewards. So the feudal means that structures come with food income, and food income is very, very important in terms of being able to expand your territories. You need like colonists, or population, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to then actually expand the territory that you own. So the sooner we're able to do that, we're able to, earn, own more of the map. And units benefit from close formations called stand together. Stand together means that units who are all like I said, in close formation. So if they're standing beside each other, not spread out, it means that they actually deal an extra 20% damage. So I always kind of want to have them in a good, formation, so we can take advantage of this as much as possible. And then the feudal culture also grants heroes 5 special feudal titles as hero skills. So they grant bonuses to the cities, and these heroes are governor of that city on the world map. So the hero skills can be Lord of War, which means that if we are, fighting with that hero, they actually get to regenerate even more every turn, which is fantastic. But not when they're in enemy territory. Only when they're in their own territory, or if they're in like neutral territory. Like we're indifferent with them. Then Lord of Crops, which means whatever city they actually govern, they get extra food in that city, so they get an extra 25 food. Then Knowledge. The knowledge is what I was talking about earlier in terms of our tomes. So the more knowledge we have, the faster our research goes. So it takes less turns to get through, like a tome or a skill book, if you want to call it that instead. So we always want to make sure that we're getting, good knowledge income as well. And then for magic, if you maybe had like a hero specifically that, because Lagatha is, ranged because she has bow and arrow, and then she'll have like a mount and all that other type of shit. I don't really want to have like loads of mana, for her. But there are some units that instead of using gold as upkeep, if they are magical units, you need more mana for their upkeep. So that's like the second real like currency that you need to be having in the game, because if you don't have enough mana to sustain like magic units in your army, it's not going to go well. They're gonna abandon you and all that other type of stuff. Then production is another one that we've already touched upon. So the more production that you have, the quicker you're going to be able to build city structures. So let's say I had just taken over like a new city or something, and it has really, really high production. If an enemy is coming to take that city back, if I have high production, I'm able to create more city structures like turrets or whatever that's going to be able to help my defense and hold on to it while they're going to come to attack me. So each individual one has its advantages, but it just depends on, maybe you want to have different ones for, different heroes. Maybe you want to have different ones for, each individual city has a different one, so you're kind of balancing out and, having a balancing act that way. Or maybe you just want to clean focus on making sure everyone has really high food production, so you're just able to expand at a very, very big rate. But then the more you own, maybe you're struggling because it's taken you 7 turns to build one thing because your production is shit. So it's just stuff you really need to keep an eye on, but everyone has their own individual play style. Then we're also prolific swarmers. So we find strength in fast population growth, which means that we require 10% less food to gain a new population, or a new colonist, or whatever you want to call them, which is fantastic. It's why I chose it. I want to be able to not spend as much time like building farms and things and having loads of food production. If it's always going to be cheaper for us to actually expand, then I can focus on like our production, our mana, our knowledge, or other things. Then racial tier 1 units, so the same race as us, have an X, start with like an extra rank, which is great. The higher the rank, the more like health they'll have, the more like damage they'll do, etc. Which is great because you don't want your units constantly dying, and then you have to go all the way back to base to try to build your army back up again, and then it slows down your whole momentum if you're kind of going on the offense. Non-magic origin units have 20% less upkeep, so it means it's going to cost us a lot less gold to have non-magic units, which is fantastic. And then we are great hunters. So yes, that's not really a Viking thing. And they would have been more like warriors, with like axes and berserker, type of stuff. But just for me in my own playstyle, if I can choose like a ranged weapon, like I will. I'm not always big into using, like magic based things or whatever, but I do a lot in this game. So we gain an extra 100% resources from clearing infestations, ancient wonders, and resource nodes. So that's what I touched upon earlier. We have this perk that helps us if we're coming across infestations a lot. We're going to end up getting far bigger rewards clearing them out. So we'll get, we're going to get loads of XP for making sure that we're doing these battles and we're doing these fights anyway. But then we're going to get a lot more resources. So if maybe you are in a scenario where resources are scarce, but your army is decent enough, if you go and you sort out the infestations, then you're gonna maybe start off with more resources and be in a better position than your opposition. So racial ranged units and skirmisher units also start with an extra rank, and our other starting bonus is that we get an extra ranged unit to start the game with in our main army. So I started chosen the ranged weapon, so the bow. We do have a mount, so we just have like this pretty armored pony, which is it's decent enough, but there's better ones out there, and we can get like a unicorn, we can get like ones that that are just land based, like the unicorn and stuff, and then we can get flying ones and stuff, so we can ride dragons and shit, which is just fantastic. And maybe we'll have a little bit of like a Targaryen meets Vikings, type of thing, like shield maidens and dragon riders. Like, hello, absolutely awesome. So now that I've kind of given the breakdown, we're gonna select, my already pre-made one, and we're gonna jump in to see what we're actually doing. So we've started here at our main throne city, and we've already noticed that we've got a little bit of a gold mine beside us, an underground passage. We're on the coast. So now it's kind of giving us again the breakdown of like what we're starting with. And I chose my first tome to be the tome of the beasts because we're going to be using a lot of, like animal like units, and we've got our ranged units and things like that. And I just love, like I want to be having like, good cavalry and dragons and stuff like that. So being able to give us like extra buffs for that is fantastical. So we do start, because I've chosen this tome, with two spells. So our starting magic is Marcus Prey and Call to Glory. So these are both combat spells that we use when we're fighting. So they're both like tier one, so they're both shitty enough, but they're still, helpful. So it puts a debuff onto whatever enemy, but it's only one enemy. And they become distracted, which means that every single time we attack them, it all counts as if we're flanking them. So if you're flanking someone, if they're, facing a different direction or whatever, you're always going to do more damage because, it's like a stealth attack that didn't see coming. So if I can put that on them, it doesn't matter if I'm, attacking them face on, I'm still going to get the extra damage bonus of a flank, even if it technically wasn't. And if they have hyper awareness, which means they're immune to flanking, because I put this debuff on them, it's taken that away, so they're no longer immune to it, and I can flank them. What it also places on them is a -1 defense and a -1 status resistance. So this also stacks. So if I were just placing this on them, again and again and again, I can do that up to 5 times, which means instead of -1 defense, it'll be -5 defense, blah, blah, blah. And if they have a buff on them, which gives them more defense, it takes that away, it cancels that out. So that's a good one to have starting off. Then Call to Glory is a buff spell we put on ourselves during combat. So it makes our morale, 5 higher, which increases our critical rate chance. We have less of a chance to fumble and fuck up our shots and things. But also, we're able to strengthen ourselves. So if I put Call to Glory on our units, they're going to be doing 10% damage, and that also stacks up to 5 times. So they could then end up doing up to 50% more damage. And the great thing about this, it's all friendly units in a 1 hex radius. So because I have that stand together perk, I'm going to want everyone to be in a tight formation anyway. So they're all going to be within that radius. So I only really have to keep them where they are and continue placing it on them. So when we load into the screen here, you'll see at the top left, which is actually probably blocked by the follower goal. Apologies. But I mean, once we meet the followers goal, then I can remove it and it can go away. So what you should see at the top left of the screen is it'll give you a breakdown of like how many cities you have. So we have 1 out of 3. Whispering Stone is something that we will talk about when it comes to the free cities, if and when we encounter one. So we give it to them, and it starts us able to negotiate with them a little bit more. which obviously we want to need if we aren't going to battle them, face them head on, and we want to kind of integrate them and have them fight for us or with us. It'll give you a breakdown as well of like your research and your resources are then up here. So you've got your main gold resource, and then you've got your mana as well. So we need mana to summon spells, but we also need that for the upkeep of any magical units that we're using. So we always want to make sure that we're doing okay in these because we're gonna be in some serious shit if we fuck up and they're in the minus numbers and we're running a deficit. So the very first thing that I'm going to do, it wants us to initially set our production in our main city. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and I'm going to rename it. Yeah, buddy. We are Vikings up in here. So when you first have a city, it'll ask you like does your what does it do? What's the main source that it does, that it provides? Does it give you as its main city structure mana? Does it give you knowledge? Does it give you more food? Does it give you more gold? Blah blah blah. So that will always be like an option for every single time you're initially having that first structure built. So I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go for food. So we're going to get our population increasing a little bit more. So you can see here, it's going to tell us that in 2 turns, we're going to have a population increase. So the higher population we have, the more we can take over certain annexes. So this is where then the map is quite important because you'll see here there's like little symbols and little like annexes and stuff. And the more population that we have, we're able to like annex a new like province, which is what these little sections are called. So some sections, yes, on the map look bigger than other. Like this one definitely looks bigger than that one or whatever. But depending on like the terrain and maybe what like resource nodes or whatever are on that individual annex, well, province to annex, it'll give us then certain materials, certain perks and stuff. So for example, this one can only give us like a farm, which is going to give us food, or it can give us a forester, which is going to give us more production and a little bit of food. So if I were, to take over that annex, we'll take over that province to annex it. Jesus Christ. I would have to choose between these and you can't have both. But then this one, because it has a gold mine on it, I would be able to have then a gold mine here. So then our income of gold will increase. We can have knowledge based ones, and obviously knowledge is going to help us with our research. And then you can have mana based ones, etc. So they all have their uses. It's really all about the play style, what the winning criteria for like the scenario, the campaign, or whatever is. So it's something to pay attention to. But of course, I'm just gonna rename it, and until our population increases, we're not able to annex any of these provinces. So we're just gonna sort of explore. And like it said, because of one of the perks that I've chosen, we start with an extra ranged unit that we're fighting with. So at the minute, Lagatha herself, and then the two archers are our ranged units. I'm going to take the scout out of here so they can kind of scout around and scout ahead for us. They have a lot more like move points on the map, so they can, get a lot further around the map. So you're always going to want to take advantage of that. And then I've put in a bannerman, and we're also going to put in another archer, and then we'll probably just put in some peasants for the crack, and then he can probably be a different scout in a different area. He just won't move as far, whereas this pretty pony can go quite the distance. And you will have like random things, and it's a bit like Heroes of Might and Magic, in that way, where there'll be like just random resources on the ground for them, to pick up. First thing I'm gonna do is go straight into a battle and clear these out from being my neighbors. So when you're fighting, it'll tell you who you're fighting with on the left. You can fight with multiple armies. So if I had brought like these like peasant pikemen and I'd put them like in one of the hexes like close by, he would be able to join us in our fight. which is fantastic because the enemy is going to do that to you at the same time too. But it just means like to make battles sometimes quicker, or if you want to maybe rank everybody up, or you have multiple heroes that you want to make sure are getting like more XP and stuff, then bring in like a good solid army or multiple armies with you all at the same time at once is very very good. You'll probably start to hear in the background as well the dog beating the shit out of her toy in her crate. So you'll hear like little clink clang clangs, but she loves it and whatever makes her happy. And we will see then what we're fighting with on the left, and we'll see who we're fighting on the right. So there's only two of them. They're tier one, so you'll see like this teeny weeny little symbol here. It will say, like one or two or five or whatever. So tier ones, we're not scared. We're not scared because we've got a lot, in our army, and it'll give you like an overall sort of idea of how well you might actually do in this battle. So this is a very safe battle for us because we currently have like basically like that's like our strength points of 430 and they're only 100. So we could auto combat it and things, but I like to do as much manual combat as I can. Um just I don't know. I like the fighting. So we'll have our little hexes on the ground, and each individual unit will have like its own like move points or whatever, which you'll see. I believe from what I can remember, the action points are like here. So if I were to like move her like fully the amount that she's allowed to move, then all these would disappear. But what I really want to do is I want to get into that good formation. So the Bannerman is good because he can like put extra sort of buffs on us. But we're going to get our stand together perk every single time we move closer. So as he moves from here into here, he'll get stand together automatically coming up above his head. Um, and then we can take advantage of that perk because we're going to get more damage done. So we're going to get into a nice formation, and then he uses the bulwark standard, which means that we get extra defense and extra resistance. So like resistance to maybe spells, or like resistance to being electrified or poisoned, or it's like a debuff basically. And we're just gonna hang out here and let them come to us because we're mostly ranged, and our little peasant pikemen are pretty shitty, and they'll die quite easily. So what we're then gonna go ahead and do is put that call to glory on. So our morale is a little bit higher, so our shots should be, landing a bit better, or maybe doing a bit more damage. And then what the Bannerman can also do is the soothing standard. So he heals us with temporary hit points, which means after the battle they're gone, but it could be the difference between a unit making it out of battle and a unit dying in the field. Then it gives us even more morale, so we should be doing more damage and even higher chance of doing like critical shots and stuff as well. And we're just gonna let them come to us a little bit more. Oh, you be bastards. Gonna move her up. So because her morale is quite high, and because we have a good like direct line of sight, because we're facing right at them with no obstacles in front of us like other units or like the rocks or whatever, she has a 75% chance to hit them. But then because we've used one of her action points, she's not able to hit them 3 times. She's only able to hit them twice. So I can't, if I click on it, it'll just do the action. But you'll see there it says shoot bow times 2, which means she can hit them twice instead of like 3 times, which is the maximum amount of times that she'll be able to hit someone. And we're going to be doing roughly like 22 damage. Now, because we only have a 75% chance to hit them, if we fumbled, that 25% chance is there, we might do less than 22 damage. We could miss them fucking completely. Or we could end up doing like a critical hit because our morale is quite high, and we could end up doing more damage. So let's just see what it ends up being. So she fucked up the first one because she only grazed them. So because she only grazed them, it was only 6, and then the second one did get an 11 hit, so it was 17 instead of 22, which is something to pay attention to, because just because the little bar above their head maybe says you're going to do this amount of damage, it depends on other factors. It depends on what debuffs you have on you, what buffs you have on you, what debuffs or buffs they have on them. So you need to read it, or else you'll end if you just spam click buttons like I tend to do in most games, and then land in a predicament because I'm like, why is everyone dying? That is usually the reason why. I'm just going to move him to the front here. And then we're going to put this down again. And we're going to put this down again. Because it can stack. So we can just keep going, keep going, keep going. Now we have high morale. So if you hover like over any of your units during battle, it'll kind of give you the breakdown of like buffs or debuffs that you already have on you. So it tells us, like, because I've done like the spells and stuff, and the bannerman has used like his things. We've got bolster defense times 2, resistance times 2, stand together times 1, because that's the perk of just like one of our race things. Because we're in our like good formation, we're standing together, so we get that perk as well. And then we have strengthen times 2 as well. As well. Now it's the end of my turn. So he's came around here and he's flanked me, so he did extra damage to me than he would have if he was facing me, and poisoned me as well. So if I hover over her, it'll then say in red, I've got poison put on me, but times 1 because it can stack. So it'll always tell you how much it's also stacked by. And one thing that's shit for your ranged units, but really good if you're attacking ranged units, is if you get right in front of them, you get close to them, they can't shoot at you. They can only use maybe like a secondary attack or something. Or if they don't have a secondary attack, they have to move away from you and use action points before they can actually then shoot at you. You can use that to your advantage, because it means if they're, if you just run up on them and surround them, they can't shoot at you. They have to use more action points and like get a wee bit away from you and blah blah blah. So the strategy wise, for that can be great. She's able to do like just a wee like quick stab, but he's gonna retaliate and do extra damage to me, and he also might poison me again. So because we have full action points for our archers here, we can do a chunk of damage, and we have a 90% chance of being able to hit these shots and do a good chunk. 70, 50, 65. 65% chance to kill him. It's pretty good. But if you're like standing like here and trying to shoot someone here, if you fumble it up, you can end up shooting your own units, and friendly fire is a thing. It didn't happen to me though, thank God. Whee! So first battle completed, we have 1. We didn't get any like major rewards, but we'll get some XP. We got some mana as well, which is a currency that we do always need to have, and we got some fiery wake boots, which ain't too bad. So they're tier 2. Gives us an extra 1 defense, and this unit ignites flammable obstacles. It moves over, and they're now immune to burning. Okay. So this is like the little breakdown like of our like hero screen. So it'll give you like your like for her, because she's got a bow and arrow, she can't have like a secondary thing, like she can't have like a shield too, because a bow and arrow would technically use both hands. But you'll have like the choice of like a helmet, like a chest piece, some booties, your mounts have different perks as well. Some mounts can actually give you different attacks to do. Like if you're fucking riding a dragon, they can breathe fire, or like there's like frost dragons and stuff. So they can maybe like freeze opponents and things like that. Then you'll have like a ring which will go into, and then certain other items you can carry around. These can be staffs or orbs or other different things. It just depends on what you're picking up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these booties on. A little bit of extra defense is good. I'm not too keen about really being able to like set things on fire because we want to be standing close together. That could be, friendly damage if I moved like one of my ranged units onto like that fiery hex, then they're going to be taking fire damage, which isn't fantastic. So I just need to be conscious of that. That when Lagatha moves, she might be leaving, some little fiery path behind her, but being able to be immune to burning and not then taking burning damage every turn is a good thing to have, depending on who we end up fighting. So now we're going into our research. So we get to choose like a tome that we want to focus on, and then we will research certain things that are in that tome. If there's not anything here that you want, like if I was like, oh, that shite, don't really want to use that, oh, that shite, don't want to use that, blah, 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 we can shuffle and it kind of resets then. Apologies for the dogs just having the time of her life. It resets then what you can choose from, which is great, but it uses more and more mana every time. So if you're just bashing that button, you're going to be, really depleting your mana unless you have a really good mana income. It's something I don't like to do. But sometimes there is just certain things in certain tomes that you don't really want to have. So the first thing that I could do is I could research a new unit, which is a tier 2 unit called Wild Speaker. They're a support unit that empowers my animals and affects hostile animals. So what she can do is she can do a little bit of like poison damage, and it could then poison whoever she is attacking. But one thing it's good for is summoning a tier 1 animal unit, which lasts for 4 turns in the combat. So because we are mostly using ranged at the minute, for her to be able to kind of summon a bit of like disposable distraction for us, like he can kind of take the damage, or keep everyone where we need them to be hex wise, so we can do the most damage we can to them, is great. And then she can also give them a bit of a buff, so she can kind of soup them up a bit because they'll only be like a tier 1 anyway. Then we could learn a summoning spell, which means in on the world map, so not during battles, but on the world map, we could summon just like an extra tier 1 animal unit that we could then add to an army that could fight in combat. And there's a small chance that it could be a tier 2 as well, but they require upkeep. So unless you really want to build your army up that way and you've got like the extra income, it costs a lot of upkeep. So I don't know what I'm going to be getting tier 1 animal wise, or what the tier 2 animal, might be. It's a question mark. So I prefer to kind of not do that one very, very early. Animal kinship is very useful. It makes the target race, so us, more bestial, I guess that would be the word, and connected to animals. When adjacent to a friendly animal, both units are granted 10% damage and 10% critical hit chance. So we are going to be using a lot of animals, and because we have that stand together buff as well, if they're all standing like adjacent to each other, they're going to be getting extra damage, extra crit rate chance, and then the pros of being able to do the stand together as well. So for me, it would be between this one and that one. Another good thing that you can do is you can choose one to lock. So because I'm like, I want this one, but I also want that one. If I were to choose this one, they would reset next time I'm able to choose another research to do, and I might not see this one again. So if I lock this one, and I research that one, this one's going to be available again for me to come back to research, and it will have like shuffled through it, which is very, very handy. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to research the new unit first, because that's going to take a couple of turns, and we don't really have like animals that we're using at the minute. So a little extra help with that one of being able to get a new unit is very helpful. So they've just again just seen some random gold sitting there. So there's a resource node of an iron deposit, which means if I annex it, we're going to get more production, which would speed up us building other structures in our city. But I'm going to go and do this battle as well because it's a safe enough battle. But there is a tier 2 storm scale serpent and a tier 1 lesser storm spirit. But it's still a very safe battle. So we really shouldn't be needing to worry about losing anybody or anything unless I like seriously fuck up somehow. Another cool thing to note, like if you're not new to Age of Wonders 4, but you're new to obviously the brand new expansion that's just came out, you'll already probably know this. But if you're new to like Age of Wonders, franchise in general, or Age of Wonders 4, certain units when they get to like certain ranks will actually evolve. So we can get like technically like a little baby dragon. And then if we like nurture this baby dragon, we like level up this little baby dragon, they can actually like transform into a real proper like flying dragon that can like devastate everybody. Um, I have a feeling serpents might do something similar. I'm not sure. I'm not 110% sure of all the units that do it, but I know there is a few. I'm gonna move her down here. I'm gonna move him then into the middle because I want to use his banner thingy. So now they're all getting their buffs. And then you can change what direction your units are facing as well, so you're not like getting flanked and stuff. So because they're like in front of us, if I were to have her facing this way and then they attacked from here, she would technically get flanked. But then if I make them like face forward, they wouldn't be. So that's always something I make sure that I'm conscious of. So we're going to make them come to us because we need them to be just a little bit closer. Perfecto. And then I'm going to use Marcus Prey. So we're going to do a little bit more damage to them. Noise. Dead. Oh my god, only 40%. He's right in front of you. How blind can you be, bitch? Jesus Christ. I mean, she still did a good chunk of damage anyway. That's 10%. I'm not gonna bother. Bye-bye. Bye now. So that's that done. Reward wise, all we got was the benefits of the resource node here. We just got some production for going over it. And there is a knowledge stash on the floor. So moving your army onto it will instantly grant you some knowledge. So that'll be like an extra little boost to what we're researching at the minute, our little new unit. So now on our right hand side, which is kind of like our event log per se, it's now telling us that an evil presence lingers in these lands because we've stumbled across this. This is what I was telling you was the infestation. This is what it looks like. So in this little province here, we have like a spawn point. Then if we like click on it, it'll give us a little bit of information about it. So nature is seldom good or evil. It's hungry, blah blah blah. So it's telling us that like tier wise, it's only bronze, so it's not super scary in terms of strength. This is then obviously the tutorial realm for beginners, so it's not really going to be very hard for us. It's also telling us that the infestation is currently in a deep sleep, which means it'll only become active and start kind of spawning and spitting out enemies in 9 turns. So if we clear it out before that, we don't have to worry about that. But if we were to fuck away off and do other things for ages, they're then gonna, start having enemies sent out, which could then fuck up things for us that could go, and attack us for our main throne city, which we obviously do not want. So a throng of vile monsters has claimed this region. If left unchecked, they will grow in strength, expand their territory, and send out invasion armies. So we want to be like held in motherfucking no, and we want to take them out, but we don't have enough move points, so We're going to continue moving on. And from that last battle there, our ruler actually leveled up. So now what you'll see is we get to choose from like the five feudal options that it's given us. Um, so do I want to be Lord of the Crops, which gives us 25 more food income in our main city? Meh. Do I want more knowledge? Do I want more magic? Do I want more production? Or do I want to be the Lord of War? So while I'm the leader of my army, units in the army regenerate an extra 5 hit points in friendly and neutral territory. In addition, after winning combat, units in the army will also regain 25% of their move points back, which I would much rather have. So we're going to go ahead and get that one. Then Kattegat is ready to let me do shit meows. So as we had taken the army out, or NPC army really, from this resource node, we got a whack of production. And I was like, the whack of production is good because then it means that we're going to be able to build structures a little bit faster. So now this is where we'll see that benefit because it's now saying it's going to take 0 turns to do these ones. So happy days. That's definitely what we're wanting. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get a little bit more gold income because we're going to start wanting to build our army up at some point. I already did that. Fuck off. And now we're going to go to our scout, and our scout is going to run about and see what they're going to discover. So this is our first taste of free cities. So I've already talked about them like a little tiny bit, but now we actually have come across one. So we're meeting Inquisitive Harrington. So Duchess Alexandria Gainworth of the Free City of Harrington greets you with a small measure of awe. Most valiant Lagatha Shield Maiden, Harrington extends a cautious hand in welcome. Apprehension and excitement steer our words in equal measure. Seldom have we encountered one such as you, risen through the ranks of mortality to champion their people. How, one cannot help but wonder, will you endeavour to rule these lands for good or for ill? So, do we want to give Alexandria Gainworth one of our Whispering Stones and start negotiations and start improving our relationship with them? Or do we want to be like, bye, I don't have time for you? What we can also do is click this little like location button, and it'll tell us where we bumped into them, where did we see them, where are they? Which is helpful, especially if you do have like multiple scout units or whatever, and you're just kind of like fast, sending everyone out running around, and you're like, where the fuck even are they? Are they much of a threat? Are they right beside me? So I want to go ahead and have a little peeky poos, and I do actually want to give them the Whispering Stone. So the Whispering Stone was located up here beside it, telling us how many cities we're allowed to have. And we only have one, so I've given them our one and only Whispering Stone. So that will basically mean that if a certain amount of turns go by, we will increase our relation with them. The higher relation that we have will unlock like certain, perks or whatever. Like we'll be able to maybe trade with them and recruit from some units or sell them, maybe like equipment or things. Like we could sell them like a sword that we didn't want or that type of stuff. Then what we can actually do is we can ask them to like join us in a war with someone else if we have a good enough relationship with them. Or then after that we can ask them, like we're just gonna take you on, and we own you now, pretty much. Well, another thing we can also do is we can boost our allegiance with them by using something that's called, what is it, Imperium points or something, I think. Yeah, Imperium. So you'll generate like this as a different currency as well, but it's currency for a different aspect of the game, so it doesn't really impact like our like units or anything like that. But it boosts negotiations by adding half of the required allegiance to reach the next diplomatic state. The cost of this action increases with the amount of allegiance gained. This action can only be executed once while in the current diplomatic state. So because they're like neutral, like towards us, and we haven't really got like a pact of cooperation or anything, which we'll get in 4 turns if we don't do anything. But if we boost it, this will then get halved and go down to 2. And what it meant there was like you could only do it once while in the current diplomatic state. So I'm not able to then do it again to like complete it. So we're going to have to wait them other 2 turns. But now we know, like where they are. We don't want to like be rude, I would say, and like stamp all over their territory. So you can see it's outlined here. Their province it's outlined with a different like color. These are all green and all neutral, and then we are purple, so ours will be outlined in purple. Purple's my favorite color. Now we can set new production. So what do I want? I need more population to be able to upgrade our actual town hall and do a proper castle. We're going to get I think what I'll go ahead and do then is increase our draft and production a little bit. So, I mean, because I don't want to be waiting, 7, 10, 12 turns for ship. Now, because our population has increased, we can annex our first other province. So, you always want to make sure that you're like taking advantage of the resources that are given to you, around here. So if I were to take this, because there's the resource node here, we're gonna get an extra 10 gold. So we're gonna get 10 gold no matter what we place. If we place a farm, if we place a forester or a gold mine. But I'm gonna go ahead for now and just go for the gold mine so that we're getting 15 gold as an income. I could balance it out and get a little bit of food and a little bit of gold, or a little bit of production and food and gold, but I want to just go for the gold. We are Viking after all. We're all about that gold and the riches and the plunder. Now we have our move points, we can actually go ahead and tackle this boyo. But like we really, really don't have anything to be scared of here either. We're not really running into anything scary. Probably really not going to run into anything scary the whole like tutorial beginners scenario, because it's designed to be easy peasy. And as per usual, I'm going to get everyone where they should be. Make sure they're all pointing the right direction. I don't think they're close enough yet. Nope. Where are you going? So another good thing to note, like when you're actually like in a battle, is to use the like terrain and things to your advantage. So for example, if I just left her there, she's like wide out in the open. I know that they don't have ranged attacks or anything, but it's still something, good to know. So like if we were to go in like what she's like standing in now, which is called low foliage, it's obscuring. But because she moved, remember, because of her booties, just put it on fire. Which means that we don't want anyone else to be walking over that. Like, that's our allies, it's in our army, because they will take on some damage, and no thank you. But when she's standing in like a little bit of like cover, she's slightly obscured, it's 40% harder to hit her with a ranged attack. So we don't need to worry about it because they can't do ranged damage, but it's very helpful to use your terrain in that way when you do have ranged enemies that you need to be worrying about. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place another buff on them, and we're just going to leave everybody else where they are. So I think he might try to do, a little maneuver, a little flanking. And then we're going to go ahead and place another buff. I think it does look quite similar to how like the Heroes of Might and Magic franchise looks like in more recent games. Like, Heroes of Might and Magic 1, Heroes of Might and Magic 2, 3, etc., etc. The way we do have the grid on the ground, it's turn based type of fighting and stuff, which is great. But just even like the animations and things, they're quite similar. Now we're gonna flank, although we're not gonna be able to kill him because we're shit. Don't know if I want to take that risk, but you can do it instead. I want to take advantage more of Lagatha's ranged attack rather than her little stabby stab. Because her stabby stab doesn't do as much damage. Woo! So this is what I was talking about in terms of being able to get different mounts, and we got a pretty good chunk of food. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna swap out our beautiful, beautiful pony for a little scurry, gnarly looking bone wyvern. Look! I love it. She's a scary lady now. I wouldn't want a Viking coming at me like that. I'll tell you that. So we don't have enough move points to get there, but we do have enough move points to get there. Now there's 4 of them, and they do have someone who's ranged, but it's still a safe battle, so we should be grand. And we didn't. It's not like we took loads of damage or anything there in the last battle that we need to be wary of. And now here we can see there's little like poison shroomies. So if units walk over them, they can end up being poisoned for 3 turns. So we'd definitely, maybe if you're doing a certain battle or whatever, you want to lure your enemies, over. Like we want to go over here so we can lure our enemies through them, and then they could get, poisoned and things like that. So using what's available around you is great. Same with like these trees and stuff. We need to be cautious that the trees are going to be getting in our way of being able to do our ranged attacks, and then obviously if they had loads of ranged attacks, we would want to use the trees to our advantage. Where's my portrait gone? Excuse you? I want to see my pretty lady. What the fuck? Alright then. So we're just gonna do our usual. Getting into formation. Because she has less health, I'm just gonna plonk her a wee bit behind and out of the way. She's less likely for anyone to touch her in there. What the fuck? That has to be a bug with like the new DLC or something, that little portrait disappearing. Maybe it'll fix itself. I don't know. Hmm. So as well, you can see here on the left hand side just are we buffs and stuff, which are useful. I think we'll move up a bit. We'll go a bit more offensive, even though that damage was shite, because they're like more like heavily shielded, so their defense will be higher. Oh, I don't want to get her up too much. Whee! Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. So we were actually able to hit him first before he hit us, which is always helpful. Like a first strike type of skill. So we're going to take his defenses down a wee bit. And that's what I was talking about in terms of sometimes you can fuck up your shots. So she actually shot him a little bit and then shot these guys because she missed. 50% chance of killing them though. Oh, please don't fuck up. And he completely fucking missed. So see, because she then, that's what I said earlier, because she has the archers here are ranged units and they don't have like a secondary like attack. She gets to do a little bit of a runner, but because he's able to then hit her, we need to be cautious of that. That'll end up taking the archers out quite a chunk. So we've wiped out them, and now because she's surrounded, she can only do her little stabby stab. But I think what I'll do, because she's got quite a lot of HP, is I'll move her down to like protect the archers a little bit more. And because she has set here on fire, he took burning damage too. Oh, am I going to lose my peasants? Oh my god, they're hanging on for dear life there. Oh, he might finish them off. Bye-bye, peasants! Well, we have our new unit being researched anyway on the way, which is exciting. So that's them gone. They completely fucked that up. Missing. Grazing. Missing. Fucking hell. Why are you missing so much? It probably is just a lot to do with the trees and stuff and the cover that they have. But they're packing a wee bit of a punch, like, because they're only 60%, hitting in there. But she did it anyway. So we did. We lost our Oh, we got draft though. There's another underground entrance passage, but a fucking mother ash tree would be great. And we can get another province annexed as well. So what would be the most advantageous for us? So you'd have pasture, so you give us extra foodsies. Nothing in particular. Nothing in particular. Don't really want to move you like that far down. Oh no, you have the iron deposit. Well, that's in a different one. I think what we'll actually do is we'll go for the fish farm. And if you have the same like province types, for example, two farms beside each other or two gold mines beside each other or, two quarries or something beside each other, you get like an extra bonus of that resource because you've got multiple of them like aligned all together, which is great. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is I'll do like a farm here and a farm here, and then two foresters here, and I could do a quarry here. Do something like that, methinks. And my scout is still exploring for me. Is that more knowledge? More knowledge there and more knowledge there. Ooh. But if Lagatha were to get us this tree when it's annexed though, We it counts as a forester, but we get actually Imperium, we get food, we get production, and we get morale. And also, every time we have another forester type of province, we get knowledge and mana, and we can actually then recruit certain units, etc., etc. And like the rewards then can be very, very good too. So it'll be something really, really worthwhile. But you can see it has three little skulls out of four, which means it might be a bit overpowered for us currently. What was that? Someone's building something. So I think our like main enemy then is probably over here, and we're gonna bump into another actual faction, like another hero. What's that? Mana. Negotiations succeeded with our free city. So our diplomatic state with Harrington is now a pact of cooperation. This means that the free city opens its borders, so we can like go through their owned provinces without kind of annoying them and being rude. We can now trade with them. Up to two resource trades are available, and magical materials can also be traded as well. The next negotiation level is Pact of Loyalty, which means we then see what they see, and we can build on provinces that we share like a line with, or a section with, or a barrier with, whatever you'd want to say, without again taking penalties to that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to boost. So instead of 5 turns, we're going to have 3 turns. And we've completed our research to get our wild speaker. Fantastic. And the one that I locked is still there, which is great. So that's going to be us the next 5 turns. We're working towards that. Sending this boy on a magical mystery tour still. Now that we're allowed to actually go through their territory, we'll go and nosy on up there as well. She's used her turn, so that's the end of our turn. Give me that mana. So we've bumped into another free city. So Guildmaster Albert Goldhair. He doesn't look like a fucking Albert, does he? Of the free city of Slagholm. Wow, what an insult. Greets you with an intrigued glance. Well met, O valiant Queen Lagatha Shieldmaiden. Though our ways differ from your own, your pursuit of glory intrigues us. We hope that here in Slagholm might be able to live in peace as opposed to facing your armies. So I'm pretty happy staying just pretty neutral with them. I don't really want to do anything with them at the minute, but that's who was obviously building something over here. Um, One thing now we just need to be mindful of if we zoom like all the way out on our map is what territories we're kind of encroaching on when we expand. So obviously we'll be everything that's in purple because their name is in green. We know that we've got some sort of reputation with them that's healthy, which is good, which is positive, i.e. green. And then these are neutral. So if we were to continue to expand out here, he might start feeling threatened by us and then becoming a problem. If we started expanding out that way, they could start looking at us a bit sideways and be like, I thought we were friends. What are you doing? But I like to kind of keep it, as circular, sort of as possible. Because if we were just go like one straight line, it's just no thank you. We kind of want to keep it. Oops, didn't mean to pause that. And this is the little tree. This little tree depends on our affinity. So that's kind of what I was touching upon earlier, but I could not for the life of me remember the affinities. I got that one right. It was nature. So we've already started because of what I've chosen for our faction. We've started with a nature affinity 4, which means that our income per turn is an extra 4. So because we have 4 nature affinity, we're going to get access to these a lot quicker. And then we have an order affinity of 1, which means that's not going to really be that fast. And then we're going to unlock the chaos affinity at 1 speed as well. So we're not going to get them all that fast. But we aren't going to unlock any astral affinity, any shadow affinity, or any materium affinity until we actually kind of maybe build certain things that give us that affinity, or we actually pick them kinds of tomes when we're researching, because I had chosen the nature tome firstly. So as you can even see here, like on your little tree branch, we can see this is actually going a lot faster. This is like barely starting. That hasn't fucking started at all. Um, so we're gonna be able to journey through these a little faster. This stuff also takes the Imperium currency. So we need to sometimes decide whether or not we want to invest in something along our little tree branches, or negotiations with the free cities, or something else. So what did I say I was gonna do? This one was gonna be another forest, and not a forest. This one was gonna be another farm. Them two are gonna be foresters. That one's gonna be a quarry. That's what I'm doing. I get it. I get it. He's gonna go collect some resources for me, but boom, we've just found a third free city. And then these little like watchtower things sort of unveil a little area of the map for us. And I just kind of want to get, even more resources. So that's useful. We're kind of cut off by the ocean there, but there's another infestation still asleep, but they're not going to be asleep for very long. And then we're going to go and do this battle, or are we? A tortured looking entwined thrall. So this little boyo and its minions gape at your army. My dirty mind today. I can't, between Slagholm and gape. Oh my god. Wordless, the vacant being shuffles towards you, their limbs and features wrapped in grasping vines. Leaves shudder and bark creaks in silent supplication, but they make no otherwise hostile movements. Will you grant them mercy, or will you attack? So these types of encounters are very important, because overall it will impact your reputation. So if I chose prune these shrubs and attack them, our evil character alignment goes to -5. So we get more into the evil zone. If we are perceived as being evil, people might attack us more. So the free cities might be a lot less willing to negotiate with us, might be a lot more likely to attack us. And that can definitely be a problem. If we let them grow and we left them alone, we get a +5 good character alignment, and the army goes away. So we don't have to fight them, and then people kind of see us as the good guys. Or what we could also do is discover knowledge how to carefully harvest food from their vines, and allow them to leave afterwards. So for 6 turns, we might use our knowledge. So we'll lose 12 knowledge per turn, but we receive a good maximum, a good amount of food, and they leave. But with research, I don't really want to sacrifice any knowledge at the minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna try to be the good guys for now. I'm gonna let them go. And we actually got a reward anyway, so we got a chunk of food and we got another wyvern mount, but it's like the same one that we have now. Um, in battles though, I don't know why the little portrait disappeared. It must just be like a little glitch or something, which isn't good. And we can, again, because we got that chunk of food, get another province. So I'm gonna go ahead with forester, so we can get a little bit of food and some production, which will make our building structures get produced a little bit faster. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. So if we explore it, that's telling us like it's occupied. Like you're gonna be fucking fought here. Like, so now it's telling us what we're possibly dealing with, what we're facing. So while approaching the majestic Mother Ash, you're stopped by a regal guardian. So a hero of the first elves. Okay. Emerging from a hut nearby, she greets you warmly. I bid thee well, O Queen. My fellow guardians of the tree and I once saved it from being destroyed by demons, undead, and even mortals. Now, though, an unexpected enemy threatens us, one of your own. Corruption has taken hold of the Horned God, which is a mythic unit, a tier 5. Oh, fuck. Who has taken to consuming the life of the tree itself. Her pensive gaze shifts to the Mother Ash. I do not ask you this lightly, O Queen, but it must be stopped. In the upcoming battle, nature leeching is active. So the defending Horned God is leeching power from the surrounding nature. Each turn, all flora obstacles within a 2 hex range are consumed, healing the Horned God of 10 and granting 1 strengthened for 3 turns. Oh shit. Oh, it's an impossible battle. No thank you. I would love to help this little beautiful, beautiful tree, but we're not quite equipped to deal with the situation. So run away. How long are you asleep for? 9+ turns again, so we can go over there, get some XP. Negotiations. Oh. In the light of the negotiations with Alexandria Gainworth, a group of farmers from Harrington is contacting you with a plea. We love our Duchess, Alexandria Gainworth. Their spokesperson explains, and we want to create a new fruit to honor her name. Magical, delicious fruit that tastes more exquisite with every bite. Grand Queen, will you share some of your power so we can create a magical fruit? Um, we lose 107, but we gain allegiance. Could lose some knowledge to gain allegiance. We could attempt to enchant their fruit on the spot, and we have a 50-50 chance of doing that. So, because we have 4 strength with the nature affinity, we have a 50% chance to succeed. And we'll get some food. Or if we fail, we'll lose allegiance with them and lose a nature affinity point. So I think I'll actually just be happier losing some mana because we're still wanting to work on our research a good bit and we don't have any magical units, so I don't really need to worry about how much mana we have at the momento. So that just increased our reputation with them, which is fantabulous. And now we've been able to actually see a little bit of the underground section with that little map. And another free city. Oh my god. Magistrate Tylios, Star Stepper of the free city of Pedestal, acknowledges you with an elegant curtsy. Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pants Birdman. Heal, great Lagatha Shield Maiden. The people of Pedestal greet you and wish you well. We look forward to introducing you to our arts and culture so that you may taste of our opulence. That doesn't make sense. You want me to taste like opulence? Okay. We want to give them a whisper and stone. We don't have an extra one to give, so he's just gonna stay there and hopefully not become a problem either. He respects us. He feels quite good towards us. You know, they respect us as well. He's neutral. He's indifferent. So, Slagholm might be more of a problem. One thing we could actually do is, oh no, we can't yet. In 1 turn, we're gonna be able to get boats, so we can actually go under the water. But she can fly, so that should be automatically doing it, and it's net. Okay, again, water, water, water. Now we're kind of meeting up with like where our peasant dude is going. So we've gotten our workshop now. So what else could we build? We built a shipyard. We could get more gold. Library. We could get more knowledge, which means our research would go faster. But we'd be able to annex provinces a little bit further away, get more gold. I think we're just going to go straight ahead with improving our castle. This is a low risk battle as well, so I mean I need to be a little bit careful. You know, it's a low risk battle, but I'm exactly safe. And I did, lose our peasant pikemen. Whoopsies. That's why I haven't given us our wild speaker. I was like, I know for a fact that I was meant to like create that new unit. We fucking researched it ages ago. Dumb dumb. Okay, doing the usual, doing the usual. Ending turn. Now it's our turn again, so we're just gonna put some buffs again on us. Still not close enough. The last time I made us move, like a little bit more forward, that's actually when Archer's got into a little spot of bother. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is again just holding out here and letting them come to us for another turn. Oh fuck you and your shit. Mhm. Stacking up all our buffs. They'll be able to do something to us now. Like they'll be able to hit us. Like one of my bannermen died. 45%, 65, 90, 90. 50, 90, 100, but you won't kill them, but you'll kill them. Run. Bingo bango. I mean, production is great, but at this point, I would actually quite like some more items would be great. But now I can choose from what I sort of want our next hero's perk to be. So do I want to focus on what damage or defense or whatever it is for her? Or do I want to start teaching her a little bit of magic? Or do I want to work on maybe giving everyone else a wee bit of help? Store cavalry and animal units kind of get a bit more help or less upkeep for everybody. Upkeep isn't really a problem right now, something to worry about that. We don't have any animal or cavalry. I think I'll go for a little bit of magic. Now we can make more. I need to remember to do this or I'll fucking forget. Then we're going to go in with a defender as well, following up after. Because you can queue them and you can say, like, oh shit, no, I actually want him before I want them. And you can, like, move them up the queue. Or you can be like, oh no, I don't fucking need him anymore or whatever. I'll make him somewhere else. And then you can get rid of him. So I could work on our defenses, but could get a library straight away, or I could get the shipyard straight away. I can go for the library because we need them that research, we need them tomes on the go. So that's that done. So now what could we do? I will improve this. So when you improve like your main like throne city like up a level wherever, you know, like I like got it to like tier 2 or whatever, you can then improve your actual like provinces and like what they give you. So I can change my farm to a levy camp, and that means that the current income of 5 food becomes 20 food, so we'll get more population even quicker, and we can expand even more. Ooh. We've just spotted someone else, so it's another free city. And then this is what I was talking about in terms of like world maps. Types of like spells, and then there's spells that you can have that are like active, you know, that you can cast like onto your throne city or another city or like an enemy city that are then like sustained. So that's when like you need to like pay attention to how much mana you're using, etc., because they'll be active and they'll be here. This layout is different. It didn't used to look like this, and then you've got their combat spells sort of listed, but we can't use these when we're just farting about on the world. So it'll just sort of look like this, but because we've researched our animal kinship, we could spend 150 mana on what's that called? World map casting points. And it'll take 3 turns to be able to do this. We still don't have any animal units, but we will at some point, so we can go ahead and just kind of get that going. So farm, forester there as well. Ah, yes, I know. I've already seen that in the spell book there. Thanks. Hmm. What is this? Oh, gold. It's the end of that turn again already. When there's not like loads of enemies and stuff, you know, that you know of, like a turn doesn't really last long. You're not really doing much. So now we get to choose what else we want to research. Another thing to note as well is it'll only give you a certain amount of things to research, like in that tome. So if the tome can give you 5 things, you might actually only be able to like research 3 of them because of the research cycles. So if we research 2 more things, we'll have to choose another tome, and then that whatever's in that tome will get thrown into the mix as well. So that's where all this just becomes like more and more random. So you'll end up shuffling more. I still don't want to summon. We'll do hold the line. So it means that friendly units in a 1 hex radius gain steadfast, which means they can't like be completely wiped out. They can't get any less than like 1 hit point, so that's definitely good. It means if we're ever really in a pickle, someone can't really just wipe us out straight away. Ooh, what are you? I mean, she's only level 3, and I definitely want some more. Oh, 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 oh. Guildmaster Albert Goldhair solemnly greets you. Majestic. Oh, I'm majestic this time. Lagathishin Maiden Slagholm cordially invites you to join the ceremonial hunt of the Pyre-born Warg. Okay, that's quite nice considering he's been feeling like indifferent towards us. He doesn't particularly like us, but he doesn't hate us either. Once every decade, our finest hunters ride out in the search of the warg. We call every creature we find, collect them for meat for the glory of Slagholm until we finally catch that flame infused one. Okay, you would grant us a tremendous honor by joining us. So relations would improve. We could get a mystery bonus reward, which could be anything. We could just send someone else and not actually do it. We could decline because we don't want to hunt these per creatures down. Because we have our nature affinity, we could say your hunt is brutal, not ceremonial. You can celebrate culture without bloodshed. We only have 50-50 chance 50-50 chance of that working, so we don't really know if we want to do that either. Or we could just say, oh no, I can't. Um I mean, I'm I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Even though it's gonna impact our relationship with them, but like there's just no point in because we are quite nature affinitied, nature aligned. It just seems a bit cruel. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no. And I know it's obviously negatively affected our relations, but we end up having to fight you. We end up having to fight you. Okay, so our new diplomatic stage with Harrington is now vassalage. So they share 30% of their income with us. We share all of our magic materials. Well, it shares its magic materials to us. They contribute 2 units to the Rally of the Lieges, which I haven't talked about. I'll click in a wee second. Trading costs aren't as high; they're just default levels now, and we're actually able to do some more coordination. Happy days! So, Rally of the Lieges, it'll be like every certain amount of turns, like it says next rallies in 3 turns, and we'll get like units or whatever that like we can recruit here that we maybe normally wouldn't be able to recruit. Or if they're like the same race as us, it'll be, the same types of units that we can recruit already. But it's good, like if you come across a free city and you end up becoming friendly with a free city, it's good if they're a different race from you, and you can start recruiting, like different units from them that maybe sort of complement the units that you're using and kind of build your army up a bit stronger. So because our overall alignment now, because we've chosen a couple of things, it's increased our alignment, to good. We get like an overall alignment of good, and we get some effects now. So we get another 100 relation with every free city and rulers that have neutral or better alignment. So if they're evil, they don't fucking care. We're not gonna get in their good books because we're nice. They're gonna be like, we're evil, we don't give a fuck. And then random events that occur. So them little pop-ups is in like the invite that we just got and stuff like that. Them random events that occur have now a 10% chance of going more so the way we want it to go. So when maybe instead of that 50-50 chance, it'll be a 60-40 chance. And now we can actually go into these and start unlocking these. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is unlock the ability for units to embark and use vessels across the water, and for flying and floating units to also travel over water. So that cost us 100, but we do still have some extra. So I could choose fruitful integration, which means founding or absorbing cities takes less turns, and newly founded or absorbed cities automatically gain an extra population. Or I could choose that farms grant an extra 5 food, or it unlocks the ability for units to excavate earthen terrain in the underground. Don't really know what that means. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to get a little bit extra more food. We can annex a little bit quicker. And let's see how we fare then in this battle. A lot of trees and some poison mushrooms. Poison shroomies. So I think what I'm going to do is what I talked about earlier. I'm going to sort of pull back to like here. So they have to kind of get through all the shroomies. I'm going to send them over first just so they're not walking across Lagatha's flames that she'll leave behind. Don't want to be doing that. Oh shit! Oh no! I've burned them for flying over them. That's exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do. I didn't think that if like she flew over a unit, they would automatically just go into flames. I thought it was just the ground, but maybe I read it wrong. Damn fucking booties! Oh, you've conjured up someone, have you? Hmm? Buff, buff, buff. Thank you, thank you. Let's go hide in these away from the shrew. Right, do not go in front of anybody. Fucking hell. But I'm hoping there won't be a stream tomorrow, but we'll go back to our Heroes of Might and Magic 1 stream our playthrough for that franchise on Saturday, and then we'll be back to Age of Wonders a little bit more next week. Ooh, that's a good little number there. Okay. So you done you done you done let's grant you a little bit more temporary HP. Buff you up a little bit more so you can take less damage. Oh, my archers! No! No! Oh, and oh my god, you're burning now too? Are you serious? How have I managed that? Me no understand. Ooh. So already, like, I'd lost, like, they're still burning. I'd lost the peasant pikeman in one of the previous battles, which I don't really, like, care about, because we want to replace it anyway with the wild speaker, who is currently waiting a couple of turns, and then we'll also, oh my god, you missed all of them. Because you're in the fucking trees. You little shit. Oh yeah. So we lost our archers, so we'll go back. Go back home, Zaith. We did level up. Did we level up twice? Oh, happy days. What do I want to work on then? I think we'll work on our defense and our evasion. Our evasion would be helpful, so we get hit less. But then obviously, because we're ranged, we up our attack damage and our accuracy a little bit, so we're not, missing as much. That would also be helpful. And then we're gonna go back because we've just got our wild speaker. Look at the pretty pony and the bald lady. Was that a fucking burr? That burrs are new. Burrs are definitely new in the new DLC. So we're gonna end our turn. We're gonna merge these two armies. And then we'll have a defender unit. There's our animal kinship sorted. So we can go ahead and trigger that. So when we are adjacent to friendly animal units, we'll get extra damage and crit rate chance. Why are you bringing me into this screen? So because of our relationship with them, if we were to like stamp all over like their territory, we would be trespassing. So we're just probably gonna go. Well, he can go on the water. Sure, then go on the water now, and you can continue scouting away. Negotiation succeeded, so we're now a bonded vassalage with them. So the free city now gives us 40% of its income, shares all its magic materials. It now gives us 3 units to the rally of the lieges instead of just previously being 2. And then trading costs now decrease by 10%, so it's a lot cheaper. And we've got one more turn until this opens up for us. What are you fucking? Why does it keep fucking popping up like that? Stop. Right, so what do we have? Farm, farm, forest, forest. Mine and mine can go together, but then that gives me production as well, so that's fantabulous. Hold the line has now been researched, so now we can start using steadfast. And if we choose one more thing, then we get a new tome after that. So we do now have animals that we can recruit, so we're going to go ahead and get this one, and it's only going to take 2 turns, which is fantastic. And it's only going to take one more turn before we get a defender created, which is great. You're going to go for little magical mystery turbs of ocean. So at the minute we're doing well with these, and we'll probably integrate them and take over this area. So then this area of the map will be all purple. We need to once we get our defender, we need to go over and sort out this infestation because I don't want them kind of coming for us, surprises. This might end up being our first enemy, and these guys, like, they respect us enough, so we don't need to really be worrying about them. But these guys aren't super happy with us at the minute. And now our rally is started, so we could get a defender, we could get a bannerman, or we could get another scout unit, and that's simply just because they're the same race as us. So that's what I'd said earlier. Like, if they're the same race, we're just going to be able to recruit other units that are units we could already recruit in our own cities, which is a bit shit. I don't know why that keeps popping up for me to recruit that. Select another point when I'd already done it. I didn't check there as well in the last battle if the portrait fixed itself or if it was still being buggy from the new DLC coming out, because it's definitely never happened before. I've never seen it do that. So now we're sort of like back to full strength. I'm gonna go. We'll do that battle on the way, sure, and we'll pick up that knowledge because we're gonna get our new tome here in a second. signature skill is available. Oh yes, my bad. I'm dumb dumb. So when you get to level 4, level 8, level 12, or level 16, you get to choose like an extra like signature skill for your like hero person. So she could choose Visions of Woe. So enemies in a 1 hex radius fumble their attacks, so it kind of decreases their accuracy. Reckless Rage, get an extra 30% melee. No, we're pew pew. We're shooting, so no. Damage sustained by the target friendly unit is transferred to this unit. Nope. Enemy units in a 2 hex radius have a chance of becoming diseased or poisoned. Me like, me like, me like. Restoration, I could heal fine. Draining Blade deals damage to target enemy and heals you that same amount. So that would affect one, whoever I hit, but that affects everyone in a 2 hex radius, so I'll choose that. So now we should be able to see in our next battle that taking effect. See how useful that is. And now we can build something else. Shipyard is still only 2, but we're okay on gold. I don't really. Although then we could unlock the fishmonger and improve our fish farm to get more food. So we'll do that. And there's Call of the Wild researched. And now it's asking us to choose a new tomb. So we can choose, one like one that's right in front of us, or we can ask it to show us the whole library. I like it to show us the whole library, so I can kind of choose through it all myself and then just organize it by tiers. So if you've researched like tier 1 of that particular, like affinity or that particular tome itself, you can then move on to do tier 2 of it, and then tier 3 of it, etc., etc. But if I've like some of these are going to be locked, like the Tome of Winds, Inquisition, Fertility, these are all locked to me because I've not made any like progress with them. And you need to research like a certain amount before you can progress onto the next higher tier. So I'm just now kind of investigating all these tier 1 ones, and there's still a good amount of them. So I'd already chosen Tome of the Beasts, and we've researched 4 out of the 5, so we don't need to, concentrate on that. Another nature affinity one is the Tomb of Roots, so we could potentially research these 5 as well. So we could do a healing spell or a unit enchantment, which means that any melee attacks of these enchanted units will do some blight damage, but they won't do as much physical damage. And then they do an extra 20% damage against poisoned or decaying units, and it then tells us what units it would affect that we have. So we have 1 polar arm and we have 1 shield unit, so that would kind of be, saying like it's not helpful for like our range attacks or whatever, but for these guys it would be helpful. Then the entwined thrall that we actually came across as like a random quest thingy that came up, we would actually be able to recruit them. They do a melee strike and they also do poison needles, so they could poison some people for us. We could do a combat spell, summon in 5 living vine units randomly in a 2 hex radius, which live for 2 turns. They don't deal damage, but they have the chance of immobilizing enemies, and then immobilized enemies cannot move or use abilities. So, helpful enough. Or we could do another unit enchantment, which only affects the ranged skills. So then it's telling us that our 2 ranged units would benefit from that. So that one's a maybe. The Vine Prison might be, good enough. Healing is always helpful, if you're, in a bit of a pickle. And then getting some like poison damage would be grand. They're the nature affinity ones. So then these are the chaos affinity ones. So that's changed. That's telling us then we would get that 2 chaos affinity in our little skill tree. So Fury of the Horde, all tier 1 units become strengthened. Houndmaster unit, so a ranged unit that summons a Warhound. So you could pew pew for me, and you could also summon a Warhound for us to use. So that's very, very helpful. A minor race transformation, which increases the number of units in formation. And we would deal extra damage to our non-hero units would deal extra damage, and then our hero units would get an extra 10% evasion, but we then wouldn't be able to use that with super growth. The one thing about race transformations is you've spent all this time customizing what your race looks like when you're creating them, if you've chosen to go down that route like I have with the Vikings. And then if it gives you like a race transformation, it changes how they look, and I fucking hate it. Blaze of the Horde is a combat damage spell, which does fire damage. And then this summons a random non-scout tier 1 can be produced. So this one will give us a unit and a combat spell, so I'm leaning a bit more towards that one. Pyromancy. Summon spell. I think in combat then. So on a target hex, we would be able to get a lesser magma spirit. Ignite damage spell. Searing blades for our units. Fiery arrows for our units. So like, and then instead of poison, and then we could also be able to get a battle mage unit that spreads fire and inflicts burning. So we could get a unit and a damage spell and flamey weapons and flamey arrows and another damage spell. Okay, so this one's winning. Damage spell, another battle mage. I think I'm actually just gonna go for this one. Burn them all.
Fire is sacred. It is the beginning and the end. It is
I
passion
can't lock both of
and
these though.
destruction.
Shit.
It is life.
Where I'll lock the unit.
Harness the essence of the flame. Watch it bring your enemies to smouldering ruin. Behold the beauty in the ashes. As the inferno burns the land, so does it give soil vitality, bringing life from destruction wherever it spreads.
And I'll try to work towards the damage spell now. That'll be helpful. We've got to the edge of the map down here, so we're just really trying to see everything. We're making good progress, you know, like of the map. We're okay. So we've encountered our first actual hero, our actual first faction, and it'll stay. They'll stay here. On this their little like shieldy symbol will stay here on the screen even when we go out of this bit. Sometimes fate puts adversaries in our way to test our resolve. I hope for all our sakes that you are no such adversary. In Namru, a kitty cat lady greets you with contempt. So our relations already start off at minus 325. What the fuck have I done to you, bitch? How do I want to greet her back? Bye. I'm gonna entertain in your tomfoolery. So she's started feeling threatened by me already. So so how close our domain is to her has made her scared, and our overall rankings are closely matched. So she's feeling a bit intimidated. Ah, well, tough tits. So that's her down there exploring. Whoop. I want to know where your provinces actually are, though. Oh, I heard building. Your advisors mentioned that Kattegat announced costly plans to import food. You contact the city and administrator. I cannot fucking read today. I did not get a good sleep, folks. I apologize. An administrator of Kattegat welcomes you in a good mood. I know what you mean to discuss my queen, and you can be proud. Following your benevolent decrees, Kattegat declared the importation of ample meats and produce for our hungry citizens. The best part, the city is paying for all. The people of Kattegat intend to mirror the generosity you display. However, Kattegat will be spending your gold. So, do I approve the plans and lose 42 gold per turn for 6 turns, but get stability and food? Do I spend even more, increase my alignment even further into the good? I mean, I'm only losing an extra what? Oh, 20, 24 gold, but I have 136 gold of an income anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna spend the extra moolah. I mean, they're my citizens. I'm here to fucking look after you, like. So their ruler, when they withdraw to like the astral void, that means they've died and they're recuperating at their home city, their throne city. Okay, so do I want my units to regenerate an additional 15 hit points per turn in friendly domains? Destroying an infestation or conquering a free city grants a stacking of relations with other free cities. There's quite a lot of free cities. Defeating an infestation grants you a unit based on the infestation defeated. Meh. I think we'll go for the hit points. I'd rather regen quicker and be at full strength and be able to kind of move around a bit more. Okay, so we've got farms, forest, mines. I don't want to, because we're going to end up taking these guys over at some point. I don't want to encroach on where they would be building out to a bit. So I'll actually go down. That's going to give us some mana, and that's going to give us some knowledge. So we'll go for mana and knowledge here. That would be a good little one. I mean, the more knowledge, the better for our tomes and our research. It's never a bad thing. There's a lot of infestations around. I really need to be taking a bit more. I need to be taking advantage a little bit more of the rewards they could possibly be giving me. And we've done our shipyard, which means we should be able to improve our fish farm to a fishmonger. Or not. Oh, we need another coast province, so we need another thingy. What else do I want to go for? So we get some mana, or we get food and raft, and unlocking the production of various animal units. We're going to go for that one. And let's go do this little battle. I feel like the game goes so slow if I haven't like battled for a while. Your troops rush a group of winged creatures, but notice that they neither attack nor retreat. Your foes fly around the area, flapping their wings and making alarm noises. They don't wish to engage your superior numbers, but appear loath to retreat too. Seems they are protecting nearby nests. I don't wanna disturb them with the babies. Fly, you foul! Love it. Lord of the Rings reference right there. Knowledge. How many turns until this infestation will come active in 0 to 3 turns? Ah, shit! Right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do this battle because it's a relatively safe battle, and then we'll scooch on up over here and hopefully do that too. And we're just trying to figure out where they're actually from. And that's ignite done. So now we can work on the pyromancer, but what else do I want to lock? I'll lock the other damage spell and we'll work towards getting the unit. And then go ahead and do this wee battle. Not gonna do what I did last time. And be like, oh, I'm gonna lure them this way, because that didn't fucking work. Assholes. So now we've got a couple of new units to sort of experiment with, I guess. So we're gonna move her right here. She's then gonna conjure up that tier 1 animal unit. So let's see what we end up with. We end up with little piggies. And we're gonna put our archers back here. And we're gonna then buff, buff, buff. And our defenders are gonna kind of kick it here and see where everyone's going. And we also have now a new spell to play with too, so we'll be able to see how well that does. Been using the bloody fucking trees. Oh yeah, we actually have a couple of new spells. So we got Call to the Wild, which will improve their defenses and stuff and give them strengthened. We've been using Hold the Line a wee bit, but I want to use this 11 damage, 12 damage, and you're burning for 3 turns. So we'll plonk that on you. You're just going to move him a smidge over there. Buff, buff, buff. She is then going to use her Unleash the Beast on her little piglets. So they're going to be able to do a little bit more. And I'm going to move the piglets a little bit forward as well, just to kind of entice them into like shooting range. And then these archers can hide behind. We could do some lightning damage here. Boom, boom. Ouch. Ouch. Right, so because she is behind the rock, she's not really going to be doing as much. I say she, but it's archers. It's not just like one lady. Hmm. Owie! And that's that done. We got some knowledge. We're gonna go up then, because this is gonna be wakening up in a minute. He is still. Oh, we'll find them. Okay, so just upon inspection, so you can see here, like it has the name of what it's called and then a little number 8 beside it. And I also have a number 8 beside mine, and I think that is your population. So they've got the same population as me. And then it'll also, yeah, there you go. It'll also then give us a little idea of kind of like their defenses. So I haven't been working on my defenses. So my overall defenses are 50. They've clearly not been working on their defenses either because their overall defenses are 50. So more than likely, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to probably keep my scouts kind of just farting about, up around here to keep track of where they're sort of branching off to. And then I'm going to keep my little pikemen dandering off, just doing like further exploration around the map generally. And they have not declared war, but they've declared a rivalry. So think of this as an official announcement that I, High Matriarch Inamru, and Kitty Cat Lady, consider you an enemy. So she's now declared a rivalry on me. So declare a rivalry with another ruler publicly. A modifier that slowly decreases towards minus 300, like, reputation, will be added to your relations with that ruler. Any grievance gained against that ruler will be increased by 40%. However, making treaties becomes impossible, and any existing treaties will be broken. Additionally, a rising rival justification modifier will be gained, which increases by 2 per turn. For up on at stacks like up to 30. So maintaining a declaration costs 10 gold upkeep per turn, which increases by 10 for each additional declaration. So if she declares me and like two others her rival, then it'll be 30, like upkeep because she's, having three rivals ongoing. But her putting that on me just means that I know she's gonna be losing 10 gold per turn, which is a whole lot of fucking shite for her. Like, it makes it a little bit easier for me if she has less gold income. Like you got a little bit less money coming in. Happy days. Now our free city reputation has got to like the basically the maximum stage that it could get to. So it's now flourishing vassalage. So the free city shares now 45% of its income. All its magical materials contributes 4 units to the Rally of the Lieges. Trading costs have decreased again, so now they've decreased by 15%, and we can now integrate the city. So if I had enough of the Imperium, I'll need 310. So I have 280, and I get 40 per turn, which means next turn I'll be able to integrate them, and they will be mine. And their ruler has now just came back to life, and we can get another province annexed too. So we could get we'll get iron if we annex there at all. There was something that said we need another coastal one, so we'll go ahead and we'll get a fish farm there, and then we'll go do this battle because they're about to wake up soon. And because we're then next turn going to integrate the free city to us, we don't want the infestation then fucking with the new city we've just taken over and leaving us vulnerable, and then it's more work for us to have to do. So we're just covering our own backs. Gonna move them up. Put you in there. Put her in there. Summon. Archers are moving in a nice little formation. So because this map is like very very different from what I believe, if you stand in here, yeah, you get poisoned. I know like water generally slows down like your movement and stuff. Um, but we definitely don't want to be getting any poison. So they'll probably do the same. They'll traverse, like this way and like maybe that way, or like straight, head on, or they'll come across that way as well. So we'll just keep an eye on whichever way they end up going. Get a little bit of damage on the go. 18 and burning, 18 and burning. Are you close enough? Yes, you are. Do a little lightning damage as well because we got a little bit of magic going on. We're gonna buff up our little spidey whiteys. Buff all these up too. Leave you where you are, leave you where you are, leave you where you are. And one done. You can concentrate on him, even though he'll retaliate. Like, you're disposable. It's fine. We don't want to go through there and get poisoned, so we're just gonna make sure they're unable to shoot. That's that turn done. I think what I'm gonna do as well is after the free city gets integrated, I'm just gonna rename it City One because we've got Connecticut. I could just go from like like Viking lore and like name them all sort of after like Viking cities or settlements or something like that. But I think I'm just gonna keep it boring and just keep it with like City One, City Two, blah blah blah. Dead, dead. Whoop whoop. So we actually got a good chunk of production, a good chunk of gold, and we got a cloak. So it's a tier 3 cloak, which is pretty sweet. It gives us 2 resistance against non-physical damage. And then we do get this little thing that I never fucking use, and it makes us able to kind of like just transport, out of the way if we're ever like in a prickly situation or something. But I like to hold my ground. Don't really like to like retreat and run away. I'd rather stand there and die. Go to Valhalla and whatnot. So we could upgrade our other forester, and it will. Nah, I'm not even going to because I'd rather keep the production. This is what we were working towards, though. Just we needed the 2 coastal places. And because we changed this into a wildlife sanctuary, we're actually able to recruit now a lot more animal units. So that's always good. The Razorbacks are actually pretty decent. So I'll get me one of them. And like I said, we're just keeping our scout down here to keep an eye on this kitty cat lady who's really in par with me, but I just don't want her to start improving her defenses. We're going to end our turn, and we should now be able to integrate our free city that we've been working on. We can indeed. So once integrated, special units of the city remain available through the Rally of the Lieges, and the city keeps contributing, which is great. The Vikings of Harrington have to accept you as their queen and welcome a new age under your government. From this day onward, you direct Harrington's development. Its Vikings merely produce whatever you request and settle on the provinces you prefer. You may assign one of your heroes as its governor to change the effectiveness of your resource production. Lastly, the city depends on you to defend bountiful Harrington when pillagers appear. So we're going to go ahead and inspect, and we're not going to call it Harrington anymore, so we're just going to call it City 1. And now what we can do is, because we have um another town, and because then we're feudal as well, we can get Alexandria Gainworth, who we've been dealing with, this whole time, like negotiating with, etc. We can get her to govern this city, and each individual then will have, its own perks. So for Lagatha, she's got an income of, a little bit more food production, and draft production, but she's actually then going to be bringing in more production and a little bit more gold. And we can also then use her in armies. So we can start
Ah,
building up a little army for her. So we've got our Razorback on the go. And I think then we're probably going to leave this part here. So we're going to go back to just talking shit time. We've made a bit of progress in terms of we've uncovered most of the map. We've got a rivalry going, so I'm probably going to end up going to war with her. And I'm not too fussed, not too scared. I feel like we'll be superior in terms of if I've got like two armies, sort of building up and kind of go down and like just use both armies at the same time to like kill her. And we've got one free city integrated, but at the top right corner, we do need to keep an eye on him because he's not overly fond of us. So we need to kind of keep him sweet, at least, temporarily, or decide, like, are we going to wipe him out first before then we move down to the kitty cat lady and take her out? Or are we going to just ignore him, try to keep him sweet, and then focus our main objective on wiping her out as we progress? So tomorrow there won't be a stream. On Saturday there's going to be our Heroes of Might and Magic 1 playthrough that we're doing. That's going to be streamed on Saturday, and the next Age of Wonder stream will be on Tuesday. So it'll probably be around the same time on Tuesday as well, so we'll leave off there. We'll pick up where we've left off, is what I meant to say. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Thursday, guys. Do not forget, if you've been watching, we have our follower goal. We're trying to get to 10. So you can give a wee follow, and you'll also then be able to turn on notifications too to be notified when Age of Wonders is streaming again, or when Raid Shadow Legends is being streamed, or when Sims is being streamed, because there's a good couple of games on the